In this video, I'm going to show you about dimensioning. Go ahead and setting up our dimension styles in the template. So I'm going to open up the template that we created. So I go New, and I'm using the AutoCAD or the Advanced CAD 11 by 17. So I'll go ahead and open that up. Now I'm going to go to the model space, and I'm going to take a look at my dimensions and my units. So the first thing I want to set up is my units. For the most part, we're going to be working in inches. If we're working in architectural drawings, it'll be feet, and if we're doing a civil drawing, we'll be in feet. But right now, this template's going to be set up for inches. Our precision is going to be to 2 decimal places, and the precision for the angular is going to be to 2 decimal places. I'm going to leave it as decimal place type length. I'm going to go OK. Now, you can see the grid. I could turn the grid completely off if I wish, but I'm going to go ahead and set up my limits, and since this is in a 17 by 11 sheet of paper, I'm going to set the upper right hand corner of a 17 by 11. Now, I can't see the difference from my grid, so you can either type in D settings, or if you don't remember D settings as the command prompt, you can actually pull this down and click on Snap Settings, because the grid behavior underneath the Snap Settings, I want to check and uncheck Display Grid Beyond Limits. So now I know what my limits are that I'm drawing in. Now, the ones at school might already have the limits set. Since I'm working from home, my limits have to be changed every time because that's not my default of the 11 by 17 and displayed beyond the limits. Okay, so now what I wanted to talk to you about is I'm going to draw a polyline, and I'm just going to arbitrarily draw it within here. We know that line, because our properties box is open, is 10.65 inches. Now, if I dimension that, it lists out 10.6538. It's because my dimensions aren't going to follow what I told my units to be. Now, I want my dimensions to be a certain size and display a certain arrowhead size, text height size. So if I look up underneath the annotate and I pull down the standard, we have 2 options, annotative and standard. I'll talk about annotative later, but we already have out of the box, open it up, we have standard. So you can either type in Dim Style and get the Dim Style Manager, or if you're using the ribbon, you can click on the button here, that arrow. It pops open. So we're going to work on the standard. I'm going to modify it, and when mine comes open, it's set to fit. If I wanted an annotative style, I would click here, but right now we're just going to talk about the overall scale using 1. The text height is set at 0.18. I'm going to change that to 0.125, and the arrowhead size is going to be 0.125 also. We can use a mark, a center mark, that's what this is for, and typically we're set on all the other scale sizes in our drawing. Now, as we move through, we might need to tweak these and come back and save them to our template so we don't have to keep fixing it every time. So now that we've got it fixed for the scale or the size of 0.125, because if you remember in engineering drawing courses, we use 0.125 or 1/4 inch as the text size, or 1/8 of an inch. So now underneath primary units, change the units to 2 decimal places. Depending on how you want to do it is you have leading zeros, suppressing leading zeros. This is more our mechanical style. In mechanical drawings in English units, we don't usually have a leading 0. Now, we'll talk about alternate units later, and we'll talk about tolerancing later, but we'll start with this as our basic, and we'll set up our template with this. And I click OK, and I set current, and I close. Now our dimension is properly set. And in CAD, if I click in here and I set it 1:1, the dimension style looks pretty good. So this is a 0.12 decimal place height of arrowheads and text labels. All right. Now, we'll talk about annotative in the next video. Just make sure you go ahead and save it back as a template. And you can just overwrite what you had before. All right. and close. However, before you close, I should have told you to go ahead and delete out the dimensions so your model space is blank. Go ahead and zoom extents or zoom all. I'm actually going to change my viewport color because I prefer it to be blue. This is all by choice, so I'm just cleaning mine up as I go along with how I want it to look. Something else that you'll want to make sure of, your LTS scale is set to 1 or maybe even a half. So if we were drawing in here and we draw a polyline just arbitrarily and I change it to the hidden layer, it looks good here, but when I come out to here, yeah, the hidden line still looks really good. So you just want to make sure of your LTS scale, your line type scale. So if I type in LTS and I change it to a half, you can see that they're tighter, the hidden lines are tighter together. And if I type in LTS of 2, then they're a greater spaced. So when you work on each of the drawings, you'll want to take a look at what LTS scale you want. I just set mine back to 1. Let's go back over here, and I'm just going to make this out like that. So zoom extents, and then just set it here. So I'm prepared. So I'm going to now just, again, save it back, save as a template. Like I said, when you're saving it, since you can see how I saved it before, I need to overwrite it and go save, and I say yes, replace. Okay? Now, that's it for this video. Thank you.